what else? Yeah, my dog.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Okay, let's call this thing to order. Call order public comments. Yes.
So I am Jody Frank and Lori Leonard, and we are here to represent the board for Looking Glass Terrace. And we have concerns with the driveway and the road. And I didn't know if it's on slated for anything. I know the entrance is very bad on both sides. Few potholes here or there, and our concern is they're seniors, elderly, the falling, but that entrance is very bad. I mean, right now it's just standing water on each side. So I didn't know if where it's at, if there's something that can kind of like be patched to get us through.
Was that 2026 it was?
20, yeah, right now we can patch it. We have been patching. We've done it a couple of times already this year. But it's not slated to have any work done until 2026.
2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
all
in that CIP plan that C2A put together.
right, okay. Can you look at the front entrance right now? To me, it's, and you know what you do. I just see it. I don't know how much patching you can do, but the first parking spot on the west side of the road is basically underwater.
Mhm.
And then, but as you drive in, I just drove it, as you drive in, you can see the standing water, and so basically what is kind of 2 lanes is like 1.5.
So Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, and make sure that. So part of it is city. But
Correct.
part of it is the responsibility of.
Correct, the parking spots.
This parking spot. Is that what you're understanding this as well?
Yeah, so the parking spots, we know that Looking Glass owns, it's the road that goes all the way back to the communities building and everything that, so.
So when you say that was slated, and you're talking about the area that city require,
When we were talking with, I can't remember the gal's name.
KMG, Jane.
Jane, thank you. We were trying to work it so that when we did this project, everything was done together, so we didn't have a split. You know, because you don't want to pave it and a year later have parking lots put in, because that's where you're gonna have cracks and.
Correct, I think KMG is the new management company that's been there now 2 years? 2 years into it. We're loving what they're doing, but if we're still 3 years out, we got to have something for that road. You know, we have people that use the walkers. I mean, they're not all handicapped people,
Correct.
but it's still to have something for 3 years, we gotta come up with some plan. Whether it be a patch or more, you know, whatever magic you guys do.
Right now, all we can do is patch it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we paid big money for this plan, and we kind of got to follow it, so.
Yeah, no, and I think we're aware of that, and I think, I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do, but if you guys, and I don't know how often you drive through there, but if you can just look at that front entrance, to see, you know, what you think. When I drove through, there's a few potholes here or there, but I think it's that front entrance that seems to be the.
And the water issue, there's really not a whole lot we can do with that. The problem, the road is way lower than the grass on either side, so the water can't get off the road. We've trenched it out, we've got it to drain, and over the summer of mowing, the trenches get filled in and we're back to square ones.
So there's trenches within where they mow?
Yeah, we dig off the side, so the water, because the catch basins are in the yards, they're not at the side of the road.
Okay, so that's something. our
Trench it
people-
so water can go, and then over mowing and driving over and everything else gets matted back down, and
So our people need to be aware of that.
that would be helpful, yes.
Okay. So if that's something that our maintenance guy could meet you and I know we have a new maintenance guy person.
Okay.
But if they can meet you and you can show them, that should be something that they should be cleaning out then.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So you got my number, have him get with me.
Perfect. Okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Anybody online?
Nope, no one's online.
Thank you.
Well, it's for coming.
All right, let's move into approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. Motion second, all in favor? Yay, pass. Anybody opposed? Then let's jump the lines up ahead. Mr. Bradenberg, for review report.
Does everybody have this?
New,
Yeah, it's in.
is it? New? Oh, yeah, computer right.
So what it is, the guy,
I got the drawing.
and this is what they're asking.
Oh, that's
for.
computer.
Well,
Well,
mine's
computer.
not, but.
Mine's not computer. That's not computerized.
Okay, so, let's look at the drawing,
New piece.
okay, first. I put on there the existing pole building. I want to say it's 40 by 30. I know it's 30 feet wide. I don't know how long it is exactly. I think that's really that's, and irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, but anyways. Then to the south of it would be where the new addition we're looking at getting approved. That would be 24 by 30. The two dotted lines, one of them is if we need new electrical. We have not met with, and I'm going back to Bach Electric.
Okay.
Okay, once we know they're here, Gail and I, and two other committee members from the Lions Club will meet back with him to see exactly what he was looking that needed to be replaced out there. I do know he really was kind of adamant that that tubing that comes from the pole and goes to the front pavilion. He
Yep.
said that really needs to be replaced. Dave, you may have been there, I'm not sure.
Yes, I was there.
So I do know that for a fact. I don't have any figures, anything at all as far as electrical, okay? We've got to meet with them, but you do have the cost for this new addition. You should already have that from last month. And then I believe I also even gave you additional information on everything as far as the roof, cement work, and so on for costs. The second dotted line is for a water line, possibility of a water line from the existing water line that is at the North Pavilion over to the pole barns. And after further review of it and so on, would probably be best if we put it under the new addition right at the southwest corner instead of all the way up in between the two buildings. I didn't correct that, but that was something I thought of. Number one, it'll cut the expense for the pipe, although the pipe, Dave, I talked to Leonard Hardware. They can get us 200 feet for under $100.
Okay.
So they have ordered it. I don't care if you guys pay for it, or if I get approval from the Lions Club. I mean, it's a moot point as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But I talked to Tim and if you don't care, I will just go ahead and try and get a full price. We'll go with one of the fire nozzles, since I think you've got two different nozzles out there anyway. So if we just go with a red or orange, fireman
Yep.
type, that's 6 feet long. I'll try and get it all funded by the Lions Club. That way I know an exact price. If you can just take care of the couplings, we will do the plastic in the spigot. But connections, I'll let you guys worry about that because you'll be down there and the water lines that I'm looking at, I don't know if you want to trench down 4 foot, that way you don't even have to worry about the freezing. If your backhoe can go that far, it's up. But the water line will definitely handle it, so.
Yeah, as far as the freezing, that really doesn't matter because it'll get shut down when we shut the pipe.
Understand.
off. So, but yeah, I think most of the lines we got out there are at least 3 foot anyways.
Okay.
so.
So then the second page, after all of that, you see the line items that I have written up, and then you guys have it nicely typed. Trees, like I had brought up to you guys in the past and identified the two that really need to be removed. The overhead limb, item number 2. Item 3 is all the varying lengths of the old telephone poles that are out there. The dumpster would definitely need to be relocated because right at this juncture would be right in front of the new overhead door. So I don't know if you would want to move it, just south of there or move it to the north end of the existing pole barn. But again, this is just what I feel needs to happen in order for all of this to possibly come to fruition. Again, Jim Conklin, he's going to be doing the prep work if this is approved. So where would you like, the topsoil? We just want to work with you so that we put it someplace where it can then be distributed throughout the park, in the lowlands, whatever. So, but that way, if he piles it, you guys take care of it from there so that he doesn't have to constantly go back and forth and spend more man hours.
Correct.
Number 6 was just something that Greg and Dave, we talked about before. You guys would trench the water line. We have a trencher being donated to us in line 7. If we need electrical, we will do that. And then number 8, the biggest thing is we're investing in the pole barn. If you guys, i.e. the city, could handle any and all permits, building permit, electrical if needed. Again, without talking with Bach Electric, I don't know if there's going to be any electrical permits needed, but a building permit would definitely be needed. And then anything you need us to provide for that permit.
Because we might need architectural design too.
So it says on the checklist for doing a pole barn, it does say drawings. It doesn't say indicate. If you go through that checklist, it's through the shadow. I see. We did call, the permit is based on the square footage. We're probably looking at about $380 for the. So it has a checklist that they pretty much went through as they're putting this together. But it said, it didn't say it had to be architectural plans. It said or drawings.
We can just verify that. I mean,
Yeah.
drawings are great. We got them. Just if we.
Well, if you call that a drawing, I'm kind of visual, so I hope that would help. So
Okay, yeah, because. I mean, I can email Silvio and double check, see if we need an architect to do it, or if we can just submit that.
Well,
we
and
just-
if they do, Greg,
Yes, huh?
if they do, we can simply go to like Home Depot and get a printout of 24 by 30.
Oh, perfect.
They'll have-
Okay. We don't know, need to go to what I had.
No,
Why didn't I think of Home Depot?
they have them pre kits that
Okay.
give you the whole setup right down to
That'd be
the
easy.
dice. So
Okay, that'd be easy to do. So,
I think there's a nice little recap at the end of what the Lions is looking at for them to do and what they're asking the city to do.
any questions?
do you have any rough idea what an electrical permit would do?
So when Jeff called over there, normally the contractor pulls the electrical thing and they gave him a range, I think $30 to $100 is what they kind of thought.
Okay,
But it really depends on what kind of electrical you're having done and how much, I feel like. So, but that's something
Well, it gives us a
that
ballpark.
Brian could,
Exactly. That's what I figured. If, we can work with him, whatever. Our biggest thing is the line feed that goes in there now. If it's heavy enough and we don't have to trench another line from wherever and just put a bigger panel box in there, then everything should be good. Because we aren't doing anything different.
Right.
Okay. I don't know up front, coming off the pole in the box up there with what Brian has identified. If he would need to do, he would know. I don't know, so
That
again,
makes two of us.
we have-
Not
we
electric.
haven't gotten there yet, but again, we've got 9 months,
Right.
but if I can get some of this stuff. That's why we're bringing it to you now.
Right. Do you have an expectation of when he's gonna be out?
Because
That's the biggest thing is what the holdup is, I think, is we need to know what we're looking at, the prices and stuff.
But couldn't we say that when they're only looking for the permits, that we would, as a city, up to a certain amount, cover the permits? Knowing that it's not gonna be more than, like, if he said $750, I know it's not gonna be $750, but it's probably gonna be less. But then the reason I say that is I have a grant that we're gonna apply for. That grant has to be in the Friday after city council next Friday. And if we cannot, if the city approves it, I'll be able to do it. If not, we'll have to just not do it. But I feel like they've done a lot of work on this. I guess I'd hate to hold it up on what they're asking us from. Seems reasonable, I guess, for them adding that big of building to one of our city buildings.
in answer to your question. Mike Foster just contacted them to do some work,
Okay.
and Brian is still in Florida.
Okay.
So, and that's who we started with.
Right.
That's who I want to deal with.
Right. I mean, it'd be nice to talk to him. That way we know, do we need to pull an electrical permit for this? Or is this just-
Exactly.
That's the
That,
biggest thing, because I mean, we need to know if we need to pull one before we pull one.
that would be.
Because I certainly don't want to pull it. if we don't need to.
Correct. That would be the first question I would ask him once we got out there. Again, I will reach out to Dave so that all the entities are out there.
Okay.
We still need to find out where the feed is going to the current pole barn. Okay, we don't know if it's coming from up front, the bathroom, the concession stand. We know it's coming somewhere, we just don't know where.
Right.
So once we can flip, the circuits and see the lights going off in the pole barn, then we would know.
Mhm.
So again, I don't have that information. I've got everything else but the electrical, and we are working on that. We're at the disposal of Brian.
Okay.
Can I say we would have it by the end of April? That's kind of my goal, but,
Right. I just don't want to sit on it too long. I'd rather have things in place so when the
Exactly.
construction guys are ready to, here you go and go.
Right.
Just
But I
just
think-
realize
I think
construction,
what Gail's looking for is if we just say up to a certain amount, that if we don't need it, then we don't have to spend. it.
Correct. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that
So-
too. I just,
Yeah, I'd like to make a recommendation to the city council, because they're obviously gonna make the ultimate decision, but I think it has to go through here first.
and just remember, construction is only gonna take place for Jim this year. The barn won't actually be built till probably next February.
right.
But again, all of this stuff needs to take place first
Mhm.
Correct.
before he can put holes in the ground.
That
So
gives us some time if we can find some grant money.
I'm all for that,
Yeah. I
but
mean, it gives us especially if we get good plans and good drawing, and that's what you need for that kind of stuff.
the
So,
Lions Club has already got the money, so a grant is
great,
cake,
yeah.
frosting on the cake.
Right.
We're already
Yeah.
putting it. So again, I'm not too worried about that. That's great. The more you can do, the less we have to spend, but
Mhm.
that's not a holdup.
Right.
But it's nice, because then you can have that money to put to other things, because you guys have done so well with the Hyundai community, so.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with bringing the grant up, for the council to make that. I don't know if we need to vote on that or not.
We need a recommendation,
We-
how much to send to council.
So, so basically, we're looking for a recommendation based on this
All right,
information.
are we looking at total permits or just the one permit? Because we may only need a building permit.
I would say,
We may not need electric.
I would say you put the bid in for up to a certain amount, and then whatever bids is, whatever permits are needed are in there, and we don't have to spend.
So I think we recap and say, Lions are gonna pay for the cost of the addition. The city will help move the trees, the poles, relocate the dumpster, relocate the topsoil, work with Jimmy to figure out where that is, trench for the water, and all permits up to $750 paid by the city, and the couplings.
Only got one. $3. So, are you guys good with that recommendation to city council?
So I need a second, I think.
Yeah, well, we have to officially make it part of the room. Oh,
I made the motion.
I'll second it. All in favor? All opposed, okay. Let's get that to city council. then. And then,
Thank you.
we can pull the building permit now, right, Dave? Well, I mean, we don't, no, they expire after a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
Let's wait
So
for the-
we don't need to do any of that. It's not top, so, and Jimmy doesn't need any permit or anything to do any landscaping.
He just needs the site cleared of everything that's been identified here before he can go in there
you know,
and cut out the topsoil and then bring dirt in.
Gotcha.
And like I say, he would just assume. He's got a big project that he's got, on his books, but he's gonna fit this in. Again, the sooner he can get the dirt in there, the better Mother Nature will pack it in and everything for us.
correct.
So that's all I want to say on that is,
So we're gonna get the-
but there again, you gotta approve it first.
Yep. Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
thanks, thanks.
All right,
Is that all you have, Barry?
That is it.
All right, we'll move on to your report.
alrighty. I got a hold of Duty, he came in, Steve did. We put a new bladder tank in. I called him because I was having some issues other than the bladder tank over there. So.
Where are we talking
At McClintock?
In McClintock. So it was $647. He put in the bladder tank and changed the gauge out, and he put in a higher limit switch.
Good. So that might help with.
When we went, after he put all that in, we turned both sinks on and flushed all the toilets at once and everything flushed, so. Hopefully that takes care of the problem.
We had that big concert.
When we started bringing in more people,
Yeah.
then the tank that was there was
Oh.
old and it didn't have enough pressure to keep
Gotcha.
up, and it wasn't an issue we never ran into with just the movies, but.
Okay, yeah,
And it was the original one, and I kept thinking, this can't be that old, but well, we put it up in 08, so. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but I guess it was.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
And we get older. We're right in the middle, right now, we're working on switching out of winter mode into spring mode, so we're cleaning stuff up and trying to get that stuff in, and then we'll be putting the mowers out and getting them ready to go. As I said to Jody earlier, if you've seen, we started the 2023 road projects already. We've already put down about 3 ton of patch, so. And I just went and got 5 more today, so we're patching.
is that a cold patch or hot patch?
It's cold when you start, and usually we're sweating by the time we're done, but
Gosh.
they call it patch, we call it permanent. And we did get the stuff is out for bid for the road projects and for the generators, so we're waiting for that packages to come back on that. We're getting ready to start the spring brush pickup and weed pickup. I see they've already had one nice day this weekend, so they put piles out for us. And cemetery cleanup's gonna start here next week or so, and if you haven't noticed, we've come quite a ways on that building, and we're actually getting ready to put siding.
I was gonna ask what kind of siding you put on it. You're gonna do 10 or
No,
vinyl? Okay.
pewter gray.
Oh.
It's what Home Depot had in stock.
Yay. What's on sale this week? That's what you gotta do.
And that's what I had on mind, other than the city cleanup thing. Yeah, we didn't talk about that
So,
quickly.
yeah, so I brought it up to the council about having a springtime day where the community, and so I'm gonna present it to the council because that's where I brought it up, but it is kind of, I've talked to Dave. Would you mind walking over that?
I'll just watch it.
So I've worked with the recyclers. And basically it will be a collaboratory thing between the recyclers, the city and the residents. And it's gonna be, we were gonna have it on Saturday, but Clyde's memorial is that day, so we didn't want to overshadow that, so it's gonna be on Sunday. So. I think.
Anything else? No? That's it. Okay.
We're done.